Following on from the last vlog, when I got into Terminal 21, my gimbal then decided it wasn't going to work anymore. I tried all sorts of things, software updates, rebooting, trying everything, recalibrating it. It just would not work anymore. So unfortunately, that was that for that one. And then after that, I had found that I just could not be bothered to do any more vlogging on that trip, really. A bit of a shame in a way, because I then was going to a new province and made my way via a minivan from Ekamai station to Prashinburi. I had a few days up there and then flew back to Savannahboom and then flew down to Krabi and Ao Nang. Had a few days down there and then went on a boat trip. Managed to get a bit of footage on the boat, but I'm obviously holding a mobile phone and it was never the same, and budget at the time wouldn't allow me to splash out on another new gimbal or shooting equipment, so unfortunately that was that. And then yes, back on Etihad afterwards. Etihad as an airline I wouldn't use again if I could really help it, unless they were really cheap, because I really wasn't impressed with their service. So that was 2022 part 1. So now you're up to speed with what happened there. 2022 part 2. Once again, I didn't have enough budget to get another gimbal, and this time I was using Cathay Pacific, which was another new airline to me, an airline that's been around for a good few years, but one I've not used before, and only reason I booked those was prices at the time, which was into November, into late December at the time, and with current conditions around the world, shall we say, that was the better option that fitted in with timetables and budget, so I went with that one. Then after the first flight, I wish I had used the long stay car park in Heathrow again and Terminal 3 again, and first flight onto Cathay Pacific. That bit went okay, no problems there. Staff alright, flight went okay, lands in Hong Kong, and then I'm noticing the flight times and thinking, this is not what was advertised. The layover time is going to be really tight to the second takeoff. And talking to a few people on the flight, there's another Englishman on the flight, and we were talking and we were thinking, we're not going to be able to make the second flight. I really don't know how we're going to do it. Now I had hand luggage only, so I thought, okay, I don't have to wait for any luggages or anything, and no risk of luggage not making it onto the next flight. So when we got off that plane and walked down the walkway, we were met by a staff member who then whisked us through the fastest immigration check I've ever done, and we just about made the second flight. That's how quick it was. So a little walk through the airport at a brisk pace, through another security check, and then joined literally the back of the last people getting on the connecting flight to Bangkok. And on that trip, spent a few days in Bangkok again, catching up with friends, and then a few more trips around. But once again, I just found I could not be bothered to do any vlogging, and plus budget, I couldn't get another gimbal. Anyway, after a week or two, came back again, and this time on the Cathay Pacific, got back to Hong Kong, and I thought, once again, this is going to be tight, because they haven't left enough time between flights. It's quite surprising, really. Anyways, gets to Hong Kong, gets off the plane, and once again greeted by a staff member holding a sign saying Heathrow, and she's calling that, anyone for Heathrow, London, anyone, London, Heathrow. So I said, me, I was the only person It was the only one that was going on to Heathrow. So we more or less run across the whole length of the airport from one side to the other through another immigration and passport check and security check, which was a bit of a joke really, and then literally just about made it onto the plane before they shut the door. Literally the ground staff or the airport staff were literally going to be shutting the door to the aircraft, and they sort of saw me at the last second and sort of called into the plane and then half opened the door again and let me on. And as I was walking down the aisle to find my seat, the plane was moving. That's how tight it was. They weren't going to wait. And I literally sat there in a sweaty mess, thinking, wow, I just about made that flight. So I won't be using Cathay Pacific again, because how can you run an airline with such tight times? I've noticed since looking at some of the websites that they've changed some of their flight times and takeoff times now, because I'm telling you that it was too tight. I've never known anything like that. Really bad service from Cathay Pacific. So that ended 2022. So there you have it, up to date with events. So now let's carry on with the rest of the footage that I've got from the latest trip.